somebody from Region 7. We've been campaigning the Central Visayas as the heart of the Philippines. And with this biodiversity that we have in us, and the tourism, with the tourism assets that we have in Central Visayas, it is our greatest pleasure and privilege to be graced this morning by somebody from the Department of Tourism in Region 7. Let's welcome Miss Gloriece Glen. Warm applause, please.
Thank you, sir. So, maayong buntag ka natong tanan. I can see some familiar faces. Hello, hi, sir. So, my presentation is more on opportunities in tourism in ASEAN. So, to start with, Philippines and the ASEAN Tourism Cooperation. As per RA 9593, or what is also known as the Tourism Act of 2009, Chapter 1, Section D, we are to create a favorable image of the Philippines within the international community, thereby strengthening the country's attraction as a tourism destination and eventually paving the way for other benefits that may result from a positive global view of the country. Headed by the Tourism Secretary, which is composed and assisted by our Undersecretary for Tourism Development and Assistant Secretary for Tourism Development, Director, Office of Tourism Development Planning, Research and Information Management, Chief Policy Formulation and International Cooperation Division. As per Section 12 of RA 9593, the Office of Tourism Development Planning, Research and Information Management shall have the following functions among others. First is to pursue the department's interest in multilateral, international, and regional tourism cooperation, arrangements, and treaties. Second is to source grants or loans from local and foreign funding institutions to implement tourism policies, plans, and projects. Formalized in 1976, a subcommittee on tourism under the ASEAN Committee on Trade and Tourism was established to initiate regional tourism projects through functional areas such as promotion, marketing, and research. Comparison to 2017 and 2018, this is based on submission from ASEAN member states to ASEAN Secretariat. The ASEAN tourism performance, you may notice, next. I'm not sure. Philippines is hidden, but I think there is something wrong with the presentation, but it would show back to. Actually, in this presentation or in this slide, you will notice that Thailand and Singapore would have a higher number compared to the Philippines. This is because the collection that we have in the Philippines is around 98%. We source it through air arrivals. Unlike the two other countries, they have other sources such as those cross borders. So we have a total of 125,510,221 for international arrivals for 2017, which results to 8.6% growth rate versus the 2016 arrival of 115,566,365. So by 2025, ASEAN will be a quality tourism destination, offering a unique, diverse ASEAN experience, and will be committed to responsible, sustainable, inclusive, and balanced tourism development so as to contribute significantly to socio-economic well-being of the ASEAN people. The fun fact for this is that if you are wondering why the ATSP has the same feel to it with the Philippine National Tourism Development Plan, which I'm sure some of you have already heard about it, that is simply due to the fact that it is the Philippines who leads the development of the plan. We'll show you a video later of the NTDP for better understanding. We have identified two strategic directions. Number one is to ensure that the ASEAN tourism is sustainable and inclusive. I think both of you would agree that we are really in the hype of sustainable tourism. And in fact, I am happy to see that I can no longer see the use of bottled waters, especially for this conference. Enhance competitiveness of ASEAN as a single tourism destination. In the ATSP 2011 to 2015, 5 working groups supervised various aspects for the implementation of the plan, while in the ATSP 2016 to 2025, the implementation arrangement will be as follows. The ASEAN tourism ministers provide policy framework and direction. The ASEAN NTOs serves as the executing body to implement and monitor the ATSP, and the 4 committees to implement the action programs and activities. So what are these committees? We have the ASEAN Tourism Competitiveness Committee, or the ATCC, which is responsible for the focus areas affecting competitiveness of ASEAN tourism. It would be responsible for, number 1, planning, designing, and implementing the programs and projects related to the development of a more conducive tourism investment framework, raising the service skills and quality of tourism human resources, promoting a destination and product diversification, raising destination and product quality, and moving to highly focused thematic and experimental destination and product marketing and promotion approach. Second is planning, designing, and implementing the programs and projects related to improving and expanding connectivity infrastructure, facilitating cross-border travel, and investing in destination infrastructure development. The next committee is the ASEAN Sustainable and Inclusive Development, or the ASITDC, which is responsible for planning, designing, and implementing the programs and projects related to increasing responsiveness to climate change, ensuring safety and security, prioritizing protection and management of heritage sites, and upgrading local community participation in the tourism value chain at the destination level. We have in fact conducted an ASEAN special meeting on climate change, ASEAN special meeting on climate change here in Bohol. Next is the ASEAN Tourism Resourcing and Monitoring and Evaluation Committee, known previously as the ASEAN Tourism Integration and Budget Committee in the ATSP of 2011 to 2015. It is responsible of securing financial resources to support the implementation of the programs and projects of the ATSP for 2016 to 2025. Implementing monitoring and evaluation, as well as reporting the progress of the plan to the ASEAN NTOs, or the National Tourism Organizations, and tourism ministers and assistants of the ASEAN Secretariat. Now, among the other committees, the highlight of which is the ASEAN Tourism Professionals Monitoring Committee, where ASEAN MRA belongs to. So we have Chair, Indonesia, Vice Chair, Vietnam. This one has been established earlier. Responsibilities of the ASEAN MRA on tourism professionals, adopted by the ASEAN tourism ministers in 2009. The objective of this is to facilitate mobility of tourism professionals and exchange information on best practices in competency-based education and training for tourism professionals, and to provide opportunities for cooperation and capacity building across ASEAN member states. In addition to roles and responsibilities identified in its TOR, the key activities of the ATMPC under ATSP 2016 to 2025 is to continue the implementation of the MRATP. So this would directly involve our stakeholders, especially also those from the academy. These are the various ASEAN tourism events held in the Philippines since 2016 to 2018. So we have the ASEAN Tourism Forum held in various places in the Philippines or destination in the Philippines. We have the special meeting of the ASITDC. We have ASEAN Plus 3 Tourism Youth Summit. So during this time, we invited per region, we are to represent and nominate among the universities in the region to join this ASEAN Plus 3 Tourism Youth Summit. We also have the ASEAN-China Tourism Cooperation Opening Ceremony. We have also the ASEAN Tourism Marketing Partnership, which is the working group meetings last 2 years ago. We have ASEAN-China Ecotourism Development Seminar and the ASEAN-Korea Tourism Capacity Building Workshop. So since I would like to highlight the MRATP, but before that, please allow me to share with you the department's mandate, or the DOT, the Department of Tourism's mandate, which shall be the primary planning, programming, coordinating, implementing, and regulatory government agency in the development and promotion of the tourism industry. This is both for domestic and international, in coordination with attached agencies and other government instrumentalities. So we have a total of 8 attached agencies. It shall instill in the Filipino the industry's fundamental importance and the generation of employment, investment, and foreign exchange. Thus, our tourism vision is to develop a globally competitive, environmentally sustainable, and socially responsible tourism industry that promotes inclusive growth through employment generation and equitable distribution of income, thereby contributing to building a foundation for a high-trust society.